Club 33, the not-so-secret club at Disneyland, celebrated its 50th anniversary this year. Perched along the upper floor of New Orleans Square, it's a private club that, in all likelihood, none of us will get to join, thanks to a waiting period that could exceed a decade and first-year fees that can total over $65,000. It's a cool little place that rests within Disney's history, and today, I want to talk about where it came from. Believe it or not, the birth of Club 33 came out of a business disagreement. You see, back in 1964, Walt Disney was tapped by multiple corporations to design and build several attractions for the 1964-1965 New York World's Fair. Having Disneyland, Walt certainly didn't need the work, but he saw it as two opportunities combined into one. First, he felt the corporate-sponsored attractions for the fair would allow him and his team at WED to research and develop new technology that could be used in Disneyland without actually having to pay for any of it himself. This was both on a higher level of reusing the general technology in Disney attractions later on, and also on a more specific level of planning to bring the actual attractions back to the park after the fair was over. After all, what would Pepsi or General Electric do with a ride once everything was finished? They don't have their own theme park. The second benefit was that Walt would be able to use the fair as a gauge to see how audiences on the East Coast would respond to Disney attractions. He was secretly planning his city of the future, Epcot, and part of those plans included an East Coast Disneyland. As crazy as it might sound today, there was some trepidation regarding whether or not East Coast elites would take to his brand of entertainment. So ultimately, Walt would agree to develop 4 attractions for 4 sponsors at the fair, and in 1964, the world would be introduced to It's a Small World for the Pepsi-Cola UNICEF Pavilion, Ford's Magic Skyway at the Ford Pavilion, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln at the Illinois Pavilion, and last but not least, the Progressland Pavilion sponsored by General Electric, which featured a show called the Carousel of Progress. Progressland featured a number of smaller exhibits as well as the carousel. It also featured a VIP lounge. The lounge was accessible by elevator, was able to hold up to 40 people, and offered a meeting room, a projector, and a CCTV feed of the attraction in the pavilion. Most importantly, it also offered a bar. It was a place for GE executives to bring family, friends, and other business associates while they enjoyed not only the pavilion, but the fair as a whole. All 4 attractions at the fair would be a hit. And as he originally planned to do, Walt would quickly begin work on trying to get all of the sponsors to continue their sponsorship by bringing the attractions to Disneyland. General Electric was willing to help bring the Carousel of Progress to Disneyland, but part of the proposition was that they wanted the VIP lounge to make its way over as well. Walt didn't oppose this idea, but there was a problem. The lounge featured a bar, and Disneyland was a dry park. Walt had decided early on that Disneyland would not offer any alcohol. He felt that adults drinking too much led to the undesirable atmosphere that carnivals and fairs were known for. He was striving for a clean and orderly park, and he believed that banning alcohol was a means to achieve that. According to Disneyland president Jack Lidquist, GE would push back, insisting the lounge offer a bar. Walt said no. The two would reach an impasse that put the entire attraction at risk. So Walt would instead offer a compromise. He would build a separate VIP lounge in a new part of the park that was under construction at the time, called New Orleans Square. It would be limited to park sponsors and select guests that Disney approved. It would be the one and only place where you could get alcohol in the parks, and it would only be served alongside meals. No separate bar. GE agreed to these terms. As for the name of this VIP club, there are multiple stories behind how Disney would land on Club 33. Disney's official story is that it's because the club's address within the park is 33 Royal Street in New Orleans Square. That one seems kinda silly because it's Disneyland. The address could have been whatever they wanted it to be. Jack Lidquist says that it was because Walt seemed to like the number 3, and also because Disneyland's physical address is 1313 Harbor Boulevard. Others have theorized that it represents the original 33 corporate sponsors of Disneyland. Whatever the reason, Club 33 would ultimately open in May of 1967, just 6 months after the unfortunate passing of Walt Disney. In the 50 years since, the club would grow and become a legendary part of Disneyland's history. something many of us have read about or seen from afar, but so few of us have experienced in person. Something that, unbeknownst to many, is the reason we've been able to enjoy the Carousel of Progress to this day. If you like this video, I suggest checking out In Service to the Mouse by Jack Lidquist. He covers Club 33 and tells many other interesting and fun stories about his time at the Disney company. You can find a link to it in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.